hell are you supposed to live your fullest, most vibrant life if you are feeling held back by a lack of confidence in all these little insecurities? I asked myself the same question, and over the years, I've gathered a few tips that I think are going to help you level up your confidence so you can truly love yourself and stop feeling like an imposter or a fraud or embarrassed of who you are. Because the reality is that you are such a unique and important human being, and you exist on this earth at this time for a reason. We need you here, and we need you to love yourself, because the world is going to be a way better place if everyone loved themselves. I'm Logan Haley, your guide to living a more vivacious, joyful life aligned with nature. I want to help you become your most natural, authentic self. You got your snacks, your journal, bottle of wine, whatever you need. Come on. Okay, be careful. Don't want to bust your ass like I did earlier. How beautiful. So we all have an inner critic, also called your inner bitch, your inner bully, whatever you want to call it, your inner judge. We all have one, but confident people have learned to quiet that voice so they can make way for their true, authentic voice. Your inner critic is really made up of all the people in your life who have put you down in some way. They could have been childhood bullies. They could have been a significant other. It could have been a parent. It could have been anything that you've internalized subconsciously that has made you feel like crap about yourself. And the secret, one of the secrets that I'm going to share with you, is how to actually quiet your inner critic so that your authentic self can burst forth without feeling so like beat down by this asshole in your head that you're letting control your life by talking to you. Because the reality is that that's not you. Those are other people's voices. We all do kind of have voices in our head, and you get to choose what voice you want to listen to. So stop listening to the inner critic. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to tell you how to do that. And I got all kinds of tips today, okay? I'm here for you. We all have the low days. Even when you do reach a level of confidence, the critic is still going to try to come back. It's always going to try to come back. It's an ongoing battle of suppressing it, but it gets so much easier every time you do it and you say, no, that's not me. That's not true. This bullshit story that you're feeding me is not actually true, and I'm actually amazing, and I can actually do this thing called life, okay? All right, excuse me if you hear the river or the wind. This isn't a Hollywood production. We're literally by the river. Number one, put yourself on a pedestal for once, okay? We're not looking at other people as above us anymore, and we're not looking at other people as below us either. Because when you see yourself on the pedestal, you're like, oh yeah, this other person that I look up to and I like really want to impress or get their validation, they're just a person. They're just another human, and I'm a human, and we're just people. And we all came out of a womb, out of a vagina of our mother, and we were babies, and we knew nothing, and we had nothing. And so every person starts from the same origin. Next up, you need to build trust with yourself, okay? It's impossible to feel confident in something that you haven't accomplished. When you haven't accomplished things, your ego is just kind of like, I feel worthless. We are meant to do things, to create things, to achieve things. That's how your brain achieves dopamine and feels just rewarded and excited about life. So how do you build trust and confidence in yourself? Through competence. You start a project. You do even the tiniest task, okay? You go for a walk. You work out, you write 5 words of a book, of a poem, of whatever you want to create. You play some chords on the guitar. It could literally be anything, but you have to tell yourself, I want to do this thing. And then you actually do it because you're keeping promises to yourself. Isn't it funny how we keep promises to the rest of the world? We say, I'll be at work at this time. I'll get the groceries for this. I'll show up for this. I'll show up for you and you and you. And I'll do all this stuff for other people. And then when it's time to do something for you, where are you at? You're not doing it, okay? You need to do the things for yourself that you tell yourself you're going to do and put yourself first, because you are the most important person in your world. And that is not selfish. That is self-love. If everyone in this world said, I'm the most important person in my world, and put their health and their happiness first, they would have a full cup. that they could then pour into other people. But when you're pouring from an empty cup, you're actually doing other people a disservice because they don't get to experience the full you because you're not filling you. So when you start keeping promises to yourself, you can reward yourself. And this is really corny. It's almost a little bit funny to say it on camera, but I do this every day. I saw it on the internet somewhere, and it's transformative. Whenever I achieve something, you know how when you were a kid, you were like, Mom, look at the drawing I made. Look at this little poem I wrote. Or, you know, look at my little dance. And it sucked. But, you know, if you had good parents or a good teacher, hopefully someone in your life, they were like, oh yeah, good job, kiddo. This looks great. Okay, so you need to do that for yourself as an adult, but in a different way. If I achieve something, let's say I got up at 6 a.m. because I promised myself I would get up at 6 a.m. I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. for somebody else. Screw them. I'm getting up for me, to prioritize me, to keep the promises to myself because I love myself, okay? So I got up at 6 and I didn't snooze the alarm. And I go like this. You go, girl. I made up my own little handshake. And this is another part of like dating yourself and being a solo independent person in this world. You know how when you have someone special, you're like, what's up? And you got your little handshake. I made a handshake for myself, okay? So, because I want to be my own best friend and I don't want to you don't always have someone there to handshake you. So you do it for yourself. There's actually psychology behind this. Mel Robbins has this whole thing about the high five and high-fiving yourself in the mirror, and they did all these psychological studies. And it's just a real thing. Like your ego, your body, your inner child wants that validation. And instead of seeking the validation externally, which is why a lot of us have insecurities because we're looking for validation from someone else, we give it to ourselves. You validate yourself. Okay, so you just did something, whatever it was. Okay, you journaled, you went to the gym, you made yourself a healthy meal, you showed up at work, you got a rate, whatever it is, I don't know. You're celebrating yourself. You put on a cute outfit. You're like, hey, you look good. Look in the mirror. You go, girl, you go. I'm always cheering myself on. You can do it in your head or you can do it out loud, whatever you want to do. If you were your best friend, if you were your own parent, reparenting yourself as a good parent, if you didn't have good parents, these are the things that you would do to a child to make them feel like they are accomplishing something and that they're worthwhile and that they're doing a good job. Everyone wants a gold star. So you give yourself, oh, look at me. I got a gold star. I'm the shit. I'm amazing. I don't need anyone else to tell me that because I already told myself. And my opinion is the most valuable opinion, which brings me to the next thing. Opinions. Opinions are like flavor preferences, okay? I want you to start thinking of them that way because a lot of times your inner critic and the voices you hear around you are actually just other people's opinions. And I have a question for you. Why do you value someone else's opinion more than your own? What makes their opinion more important than your opinion? I had to ask myself this. This is a reckoning. Seriously, meditate on that for a second. What makes anyone else's opinion more important than yours? Everyone's opinion only has the importance that you assign to it. This next one is transformative. I know I've got the sun in my face and videography, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is going to change your life. Reframe your insecurities as strengths. Wait for it. Okay, I'm going to be vulnerable here because vulnerability is a superpower, by the way, in case you didn't know that. It's not weakness. I have always had this insecurity that I thought I was childlike. Like I literally I'm 27 years old and I felt like I was a child in an adult's body. And I felt like other people treated me as a child, as beneath them and as immature. And one time I was in therapy and this woman, amazing therapist, I love you, Courtney, helped me to reframe this and realize that actually no one sees me that way. I was seeing myself that way. And in the idea of being childlike or childish actually could be reframed as just being playful and as being joyful, as being creative. Reframing your insecurities. If you think that you're weird or awkward even, how could we reframe that in a positive light? you're unique. Maybe you're not weird. Maybe you're just unique. Maybe you're just different from everybody else, and maybe that's your superpower. See, all your insecurities actually have a positive and beautiful alternative to them. So if you want to try this exercise, I recommend making a T-chart. On one side, you write the negative words that your inner critic tells you about yourself, your insecurities, and I will again be vulnerable. The ones for me where it's like, I'm childish. I thought I would. By the way, I don't want to say I am anything because that becomes your subconscious reality. I'm just trying to give an example because I only put positive words after the words I am. So on my T-chart, I have my old insecurities. I had that I thought I was childish. I thought I was weird. I thought I was awkward. The other side, I did the reframe, okay? Childish or playful and fun? Awkward? Authentic. I'm not awkward. I'm just authentic and unique. I like having fun and being myself and being free. So am I awkward or am I just free? And am I weird or am I just unique? Reframe, my people, because all those horrible adjectives you use to describe yourself or your inner critic uses to describe you are not actually true. Those are actually your superpowers and what make you a special and beautiful and important human being. Ain't that right? Okay, next up, who knows what number we're on at this point? Stop beating yourself up for your mistakes. Best Maya Angelou quote, when you know better, you do better. And I live by this law. Stop beating yourself up for your past mistakes. You know that thing you're thinking of like 2 years ago when you said that weird thing in front of that group of people and everyone laughed at you or stared at you in silence, and then you went to that job interview and you totally messed it up and they never called you back, and then you went on that date and you really wanted that person to like you and you just totally ruined it and they ghosted you. Think of all these things that you consider mistakes. They were actually just you trying to figure out life like we all are. And when you know better, you do better. Your mistakes do not define you. They were how you learned. You wouldn't know better now if you didn't make the mistake. You know what I mean? Okay, you have to pay attention to what you put after the words I am. Just please stop putting negative things after I am. People start defining themselves by their insecurities. And I know this is true because I did it. Believe it or not, I used to think that I had social anxiety. And I actually made it come into fruition because I repeated, I am socially anxious. I told myself that story. It became my identity. Anything you put after I am becomes your identity. And I believe this wholeheartedly. I am so conscious of what I put after the words I am, because I am, those are powerful words, baby. Those are powerful words. And I need you to catch yourself when you're calling yourself names. You just got to stop doing that. And you got to replace them, because you can't just get rid of a bad habit. You got to put a new habit in its place. If you have been saying something harmful to yourself, like I am, I don't even want to say it. If you were saying like, I'm ugly, I'm dumb, I'm weird, I'm unworthy, whatever your bad I am is, you got to find the replacement. And I'll end with this. We're all only on this earth for this little blip in time. How much of it do you want to waste worried about the way you look, or the way your voice sounds, or the way your body is shaped, or all these little things that you can't change about yourself? Focus on the things that you can change and improve. Guess what you can change? Guess what everyone can change? Their mindset. You have the power. You are powerful. And you deserve to love yourself, and you deserve a joyful, vibrant, inspired life. Love ya.